Okay, important message. After my meditation, this came up to share. Uh, could entities be controlling your life without you realizing it? Yes. So I really want to talk about how you get aware of that, how to clear them, and how they help you start to really heal and expand your consciousness. So if you feel stuck in your awakening journey, if you feel confused or lost, it could be the result of entities. So let's dive in here. Well, the first thing is entities are just like people. Entities are just like people, meaning that like we attract them via like law of attraction, right? So the vibration matches a vibration. So a lot of times entities come in because we've asked for help. We reach our hands up in the air and we're like, oh, God, can you help me? Someone help me, and they come running in. It could be angels. It could be just entities with a job. Um, Whatever it is, somehow we've attracted them, either by vibration or by asking kind of unconsciously. Entities are disembodied, non-bodied energies, vibration, beings. And so they come in and they're like, ooh, an opportunity to play in a body and to play with my agenda. And sometimes the agenda of yourself and the entity have something in common. So you play together for a while. However, it caps your consciousness. And if you are living the life of a modern mystic and you're curious and you're seeking and you're expanding your consciousness, eventually you're going to hit a ceiling because that entity's there and it's controlling things for you. It's giving you guidance. Sometimes when you think you're getting guidance, it could be you're getting guidance from this entity. So we want to really take a look at that. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to clear them, if you're ready to, with your voice. How do we attract them? Let's go over that one more time because this is really important. It's just like attracting people in our lives. And how many of us have had toxic relationships, right? How many of us have had loving relationships? How many of us have great friends? How many of us have grown out of friends? It's just like that behind the veil with these energies. And a lot of everything we're attracting in our lives is a mirror of what's happening here. So if we have entities running the show, it's because something mirrored from here out to there. So all we have to do is clear them, take hold of where we really want to be vibrating from. Where do we want our set point vibration to be? For me, I want it to be on my highest self, my source self. I am an extension of source, and that's where I want to be vibrating. And so that takes some commitment, that takes some intention. And so the first step to really clearing and becoming aware of entities is let's find our resonance with our highest self. And it's really simple to do. You just ask, I want to tune into my highest self at source. You can make a ritual out of it and put your arms up in the air and claim it. You can put your hands on your heart and claim it. You can just say it. You can just say, I'm claiming this. I am tuning to my source self, my highest self at source. And there you have it. The second step is I really love bringing my voice into the picture. I love taking the frequency of source through my voice with intention. So I have this intention and then I open my mouth and I let out a tone. And it just feels like, when you take a rock and you put it in the water and you get those reverberating rings? Yeah, I feel like when I use my voice in this way, I'm the rock, I'm setting the tone, and it's reverberating out the frequency of source. So anything that's not there, matching, anything that's in the way matching in those wakes of that source frequency is going to be like, ooh, yuck, I don't really vibe with that. And it'll just kind of take off. So this is what I do. I set the intention to align with my highest self at source, and then I intend to have that frequency through my voice. I let out a tone, just wash myself with the frequency of source, and I expand it through my whole field and subtle body. All right. And then afterwards, I just say whatever entities or energies that are not sanctioned by me at source and are not in line with my highest self at source can now leave. And I say that kind of as I'm toning. So that's the 3 steps to really start clearing it out. Now, how do you know that you need to be doing this? As I said before, you're going to start reaching a time in your awakening, maybe you already have, where you feel kind of trapped, where you feel capped, where you feel stuck, where you might feel like just contraction and you want to break free. That part of your awakening is giving you some indicators that something's capping your consciousness and you're kind of imploding on yourself. And whatever this is, my hands representing this, that's got to go. That's got to go. It's not a match anymore. Just like the neighbor down the street may not be a match anymore. Like you used to play cards, you used to go for walks, it used to be great. And now when you spend time together, it's agitating something. It's always just not working. Let it go, okay? Let the people go. Let them drift into what's attracting them, okay? Depending on what sign you are, I'm a Leo. Leos and Cancers, we're very, very loyal people. And we feel a sense of responsibility and obligation for people. And it's really hard to let people go. I urge you to unhook from your zodiac sign and tune in and hook into your source self. You get to decide what has power over you. And so as a Leo, I've had to kind of unhook and just say, like, I'm letting go of the paradigm of obligation and responsibility and being and loyalty. Those are some good like moral attributes of 3D. But as we come into 5D, it's really important to live with moment to moment awareness and uncap your consciousness so you can expand into the higher dimensions, the higher frequencies. And so if you're feeling that sense of like agitation that you want to move. So I have a story for you that exemplifies this in my life. I have been a singer-songwriter for a long time, for about 25 years. And when I first started, I kind of paralleled my awakening journey with my songwriting. And as I started to become a songwriter, I really wanted to play music that was healing and uplifting and be of service with it. And I remember, I forget the circumstances, but I remember like crying in my meditation and just being like, and I never really prayed to angels, but somehow I was praying to angels. So somehow I was doing this and thought it was a good idea. Like, you know, angels, please, like, I just send me the music. I want to be of higher service with this music. And then I started to write a lot with songs that were about spirituality or awakening or just, you know, broader perspectives. And I really had this whole persona of sharing songs, you know, like in this way. And I would go out to coffee shops and bars and I would sing these songs in senior homes. Well, just a few years ago, I had yet another awakening as it just keeps going. And I became aware that something felt capped. I started to sing without words and I started to tone, and I just kept feeling my frequency trying to expand. And I kept feeling some kind of entity over me whenever I sang. And I could not figure out what this was. I've had so many people try to clear it. And what happened was I realized it was an angelic who I had teamed up with in my 20s to do this conscious music. And now my music was shifting and it was time to say goodbye. And it was very touching. And I said goodbye. I released it. It was my identity for a long time. It was very hard to detach. So entities don't have to wreak havoc on your life. You can actually be aligned with a contract and partnership. And for years and years, it was like 20 years. And then you can release them, and they can be released, and it's, you can thank them for your service, their service. So that was something that happened with me. And since then, I this entity that stands over me kind of has subsided, and I've taken on a different frequency with my music, and I've started to do light language. That was a higher frequency than this angelic. So it was like, shaking hands and saying goodbye, and what a nice run we have. It was like saying goodbye to a bandmate, right? So that's what it is. If you're on your awakening journey and you feel like something's off, like, you'll know. Sit in meditation about it and do those 3 steps, and and do them often. Okay, sometimes they need reminders, these entities. And the 4th step would be in gratitude of their service. Say thank you so much for your service. Thanks for connecting with me. So the entities can be benevolent, and it can be a nice teamwork. um, it also, there can be entities that have a fear agenda that came in, probably when you were a little kid and went through some trauma, and they came in, and they're really clingy, and they really want to stay with you, to they really have a fear frequency. And if you're awakening, it's time to let go of them too, and again, have gratitude. And as you awaken and increase your frequency of trust and decrease your frequency of fear, this is when it'll come up to release those fear entities. They have an agenda of fear and protection, and and they can start giving you guidance that's always fear-based. So when you are receiving guidance, when you're in meditation, you're asking for guidance, this is how you can know if it's an entity or if it's your higher self. If it's an entity, it'll start saying, you have to do this. It'll be like a conversation you're hearing between 2 people. If your higher source and self is guiding you, it will feel like an aha that comes kind of like in the first person. Like you just, oh, okay. Or if you're working with an entity, if you bring on an entity that's of a higher caliber, you may have the conversation type of thing going on. So you have to feel into it. But that's one of the ways you can tell if you're coming from your sovereign source self, or if you're coming from a separate entity. It's going to be talking to you like it was a separate person, because it is. Give this a try. Let me know in the comments. Is this making sense? Is this helpful? The reason I'm on the entity track today is because I was in meditation, and I tuned into my sovereign self, and I was like, what's the content for today? Because I'm over on TikTok doing a lot of stuff, and I'm trying to do more stuff here. And it was like, entities, talk about how they cap consciousness and what you can do. So I follow my higher self guidance. So another little trick before I leave you guys, this is really important. When you tune into your higher self, you want to expand it out and ask for guidance only sanctioned by you at source. Because there is some tricky stuff going on, and oppositional forces, different ETs, stinker entities. Sometimes they try to walk in, or they try to mask higher frequency beings, and they try to kind of get in, and then they work on a different agenda than consciousness. So a lot of 4D stuff goes on with that. So if you have any 4D frequencies, some 4D kind of stinker entities that want to kind of, have their agenda met, can kind of get in there. So really protect yourself in some way, just with frequency, basically. Find your frequency of source, sing it out, and say I'm only working with guidance sanctioned by me at source. Okay, so I really hope these tools help you really expand your consciousness and like really help you get out of that glass ceiling of consciousness so you can expand past it. And don't let these entities control your life anymore, even if it was a sweet connection for a long time. You got this. It's time. It's time to say goodbye and let go, just like you were doing with people in your life or jobs or things that you're like, this is no longer a vibrational match. Let them go. Beautiful beings, let me know if you have any comments and questions. All right. Namaste.